What's going on, and welcome to QVO Games. My name is Juan. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it so much. This video is going to be about the games coming to retail the week of March 31st. We do bleed into April 1st. Actually, the first few games coming out are on April 31st. It's usually not Sunday. I just use that to track the weeks. So we are in week of March 31st and the first week of April for games. We have some cool games. A lot of games coming from crowdfunding. A lot of games actually coming from crowdfunding. And some of these I think you're going to be really excited for. Some of these look really interesting, and I'm actually excited to talk about it myself. Let's get going and make this a short video. Keep in mind, I'm covering the games coming to retail in the US. Last thing, keep in mind, if a game's retail release date changes, I'll make sure to update you about that change in its new respective video. Now, let's show off some games. First things first, we do have a correction. Faraway from Pandasaurus Games was stated last week to be releasing. However, it says on the website here that it doesn't release till May 10th. I was going off some other information, other sources that gave out the information saying it released last week. However, keep in mind, Faraway is not released until May 10th, according to the Pandasaurus Games website. That's just a quick update. I'm not going to really go into the game too much. I talked about that last week, and I'll make sure to update you about the game and talk about it in its new respective week of release. All right, awesome. Coming up next, first things first, Barbarian Kingdoms coming out to you on April 1st by Ares Games and Gesture. So Gesture is actually the publisher. Ares Games helping distribute in the US. Keep that in mind. Barbarian Kingdoms. When I look at it, I try to read the rule book and try to get a grasp what it was, and it's giving me area control almost, a lot of competitive strategy, collecting resource, economics, all that stuff. It almost borderline 4X, a lot lower than that, and not labeled that. In this game, actually, what it reminds me of the most is Quartermaster General. Quartermaster General is a game that I really, really like. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I'm usually not into those kind of thematic games, World War II, non-fiction style games. It's kind of like in Barbarian Kingdoms, a little similar to that, and not completely, of course. If it was a complete knockoff of it and a copy, it would be an issue. But in Barbarian Kingdoms, you're going to have economic twists. You're going to be farming resource, collecting taxes, recruiting troops, and going in and conquering different lands, right? Area control-esque. And as an example, how the board looks, some pictures, of course. The biggest thing about the game is going to be that you have your whole economic setup that's supposed to be innovative and twisted, and in the game itself you're going to be just recruiting troops from standees, putting them on the board, and going around and collecting taxes. The more property, the more places you control, the more resources you get, of course. That's usually how it goes, and you're going to be deploying your troops from your player board that you can see right there. That's going to be like the biggest gist of the game. It's a very straightforward war style game. You're going to be going in and placing your troops, recruiting, charging taxes, all of the economic stuff. It's very straightforward. However, with a barbarian theme to it, right? An older theme to it. So middle-aged theme. That's what I was trying to say. Middle-aged theme. That's the biggest thing about it. This is Barbarian Kingdoms by Gesture Games coming out to you on April 1st. Coming up next, we have Gloomhaven, Buttons and Bugs, coming out to you on April 1st by Faraway. This game, Gloomhaven, is a really well-known game. If you don't know what Gloomhaven is, it's a dungeon crawling game that has been #1 on BGG for a very long time. I think it finally got knocked off like a while back ago, and if not, it's pretty sure it's still in the top 10. And Button and Bugs, it brings you a solo adventure in a smaller box. It's kind of all the strategy of Gloomhaven in a smaller box that you can play on a flight, play solo on a table. It's a smaller version that's easy to set up in less than 20 minutes. Pretty interesting stuff. And you play a scenario in under 20 minutes. I am interested. I do enjoy Gloomhaven. I think Gloomhaven is a lot of fun. I am playing through Gloomhaven, the first one, for the last year, I believe now, a year and a half. I think we're barely on mission 8. And that's just kind of the story goes. A lot of dungeon crawling games, they're really difficult to take. And Gloomhaven itself is such a monster of a game. So much fun, but a lot of overhead when you're playing the game, and that was my biggest gripe about the game. However, I still like playing it. Buttons and Bugs kind of deletes all that and makes it a solo playthrough. The story of the game essentially is that some type of mage or someone casts some kind of spell. When you go through the door, you shrink down, and that is where the whole Button and Bugs. You shrink down to a small, teeny size. Really cool stuff. I do like Gloomhaven. This game is one that I really want to pick up and play in solo, so there's no need for me to wait for a group to be ready to play. I can just play whenever I want. That's the biggest gist of it. If you love Gloomhaven, you're probably going to enjoy this. If you love solo games, you're probably going to enjoy this. If you don't like Gloomhaven's mechanics or strategy, the way it's kind of tight with its action system, with the cards and such, you might not enjoy this game. However, nonetheless, it's $20, 20 US dollars. It's a pretty good price, I think. It's not too bad for it said here like 28 scenarios, I believe, somewhere on this list here, which I think is a pretty good amount of content. This is Gloomhaven, Button and Bugs by Faraway, coming out to you on April 31st. Coming up next, we have Kinfire by Incredible Dream Studios. Kinfire, Delve, Scorn, Stockade. My apologies, by Incredible Dream Studio. I wanted to say the whole thing. Cool stuff here. Kinfire is like a series of games that Incredible Dream has been doing for a long time. The interesting thing about this is like they kind of ventured off from like just not cooperative, but now making like strategy games around the whole world of Kinfire. Very, very interesting stuff here because this game reminds me of games like 5 Minute Dungeon, or reminds me of other games like, I guess you can say, like it has the Uno-esque thing where like you have to put cards down that match the color to solve challenges. This is a cooperative game. You're going to go in with cards. Your whole goal is to get through a series of challenge cards that you have to match the cards in your hand to the color that's on the table. And as you match them, of course, you're going through the scenario, you're going through farther and farther into the challenges. And if you run out of cards in your hand, you can get an exhaustion, which is a bad thing. It's negative to your gameplay. In the game itself, as you go through, you're going to try to kind of work through and around those edges, around those challenges with your other cooperative partner, right? Whoever you're playing with. I think this is interesting. I like it. It kind of gives me a little bit, in very small, Escape the Dark Sector, Escape the Dark Castle vibes, in the sense of the gameplay only, not the theme in any way, shape, or form. And I actually do enjoy these style of games, and I think Escape the Dark Castle was a game that no one talks about that should be talked about more. Such a great game, and I do love cooperative games as well. They're easy to bring to the table in my household. It's a cooperative household. Doesn't mean I don't like strategy games and competitive games. It's just easier for me to table those. So this game is one that's definitely on my radar, and I want to check it out and try it out for myself. Straightforward, you're matching cards to solve challenges, the color matches. Each card that you're challenging has a different thing going on where like if you don't solve this, do X, and each character you play is usually asymmetrical, and you have different abilities you can use throughout your scenario when you're playing. That's the gist of it. $20 game, that's a pretty good price. I think $20 for some great value. This is Kinfire, Delve, Scorn, Stockade, coming out to you on April 2nd by Incredible Dream. Coming up next, we have Mind Map by Sorry We Are French, coming out to you on April 3rd. Mind Map, it's a party game. That's the gist of it. It's a party game, and it's a kind of like a clue-giving word association game, right? You're trying to figure out what clue goes with what to find out your partner's word or your team's word to try to get points. And you're going to be giving clues giving clues and kind of indications that are going to lead to your secret word. That way your team gets the points. That's pretty much just of it. It's a party game. I'm not going to go too deep into it and go deeper. Check it out if you like games like Just One, or if you like games like Phantom Inc., stuff like that. Kind of those word style games. That's what Mind Map kind of does. And I haven't played Mind Map, of course, yet, but I'm curious. I'm curious to see if it does some good stuff, because I do enjoy those games, and those games are some of the ones that get brought out with my party game group a lot, and they have a blast. This is Mind Map by Sorry We Are French, coming out to you on April 3rd. Coming up next, we have Trash Talk by Friendly Skeleton, coming out to you on April 5th. Trash Talk is definitely a very family-esque game. It's very about family and stuff. And yet again, this falls into the same category as word games. It can have it be with word games, but with using some components that are kind of like indicated as trash in this, right? So in this specific game, you're going to have someone who has a player screen in front of them, and they have you're going to line up these 3 pieces of trash, quote unquote. And the trash is like a little cocktail umbrella, a slinky, and stuff like that, right? It's just very just simple little trash, I guess they call it, just little stuff like that. And you're gonna put those pieces on behind your player screen in a specific order, matching on the opposite side of that player screen, which is open to view for the public, to everyone who's playing. And they're going to say, like, for example, just for a quick example, party, one of the words is party, the other word is backyard, and the other word is toy. And then you want to line up your pieces, your components, in a way, and then in a certain way, matching those words in your head. And then the other players are going to try to guess in what order did you organize those behind the player screen, judging from the words in front of them. And they're going to put their own matching component that looks like 2 slinkies and such. They have one, you have one, and they're going to match it up to see. And your whole goal is to get to a specific round to win the game. If you go all the way through, you get 2 shots. You get first one, cool, it's guessed, it's now removed. Now you put your player screen back down, you try it again, and they try it again with different words, of course. You change up the words. Very straightforward game. It's a very straightforward family game. It's a lot of fun. I thought it was a fun game. Definitely when I bring all my nephew, I'm going to be bringing up my nephews. I do have a copy here, of course, and I will be posting some content about it soon. This is Trash Talk by Faraway Skeleton, coming out to you on April 5th. Coming up next, we have Paper App Dungeon by Lucky Duck Games, coming out to you on April 5th. This one's cool. I really enjoy this. This is an interesting one. This goes into the realm of like easy accessible games that fit like in your purse or like in your wallet. You can bring out anywhere and play. In Paper App Dungeon, you're going to have a pencil, which is your P6, six-sided pencil die, right? Like it's like you have a D6, a six-sided die. You have a P6. And you're gonna roll it, and you're gonna be moving and drawing in. It's a roll and write experience, and writing in your adventure, collecting treasure, going to the store and buying items, all that jazz, all inside just a notebook, a small notebook, which is, as you can see, pretty small. I was hoping for more pictures, but the notebook does have 60 pages. You have one pencil, one P6 six-sided pencil die, and that's basically the gist of it. Very straightforward. I think that's kind of fun, right? It's just a small game that you bring out. You have some little bit of fun with it. I think these are great for like just to kill some time. Maybe you're gonna go to bed soon. You're like, oh, maybe I just we'll do one dungeon. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff like that for this. This is the smallest roll and write experience I think you'll ever have, which is cool. And it's interesting enough next to Gloomhaven, of course, buttons and bugs. And this one, it's of course Gloomhaven buttons and bugs is not that small, but Paper App Dungeon is smaller. Fun stuff. It's really interesting. I would check it out. It's $10. It's not too bad for a little experience of a paper dungeon. It's coming out on April 5th by Lucky Duck Games. Paper App Dungeon. Check it out. Coming up next, we have Escape from New York by Pendragon Games Studio, coming out on April 5th. This game was on GameFound and is now released to the public to retail. Escape from New York is a semi-cooperative game. It's kind of based off the whole movie that came out. I have never seen the movie, so if you've seen it and you're a fan, please kind of bear with that and maybe check it out for that reason alone. You never know. So this gives me vibes of like everything epic Agents of Smersh. I don't know if you ever played that game. It has phenomenal writing, great mechanics. It's just so much fun. It's a great storytelling game. In this game, your whole thing is to rescue the dungeon. So rescue the president and his precious tape and bring them all to safety. And you're dealing with all the gangs and such in Manhattan as you're doing so. You have your hero phase. You have your asymmetrical abilities. The items you collect that you're going to use. You're going to be rolling some dice. That's kind of the big gist of the game. It's not really much to that. Past that, you're going to go through and you're going to play through your scenarios and stuff. You have win and lose conditions as you go through. That's pretty much the gist of it. Cool stuff. It's a semi-cooperative game. Looks interesting. I would like to check it out. Hopefully someone has a copy I can play and I can just give it a try. Like I said, I'm curious. I'm really interested. This is Escape from New York by Pendragon Games Studios, coming out on April 5th. Coming up next, we have Starship Interstellar, coming out on April 5th by Pendragon Games Studios. This one, Starship Interstellar. This game, of course, same publisher as the last game we talked about, Escape from New York. However, in this game, you're kind of competing with everybody to become like the best contributor in the race for interstellar spaceships, right? You're trying to save mankind. And you do so by doing your actions, collecting resources, using those actions and stuff and resources to build up and be the best contributor. Person who contributed the most into the game wins. Semi-Euro, right? It's kind of the gist of it. Semi-Euro style game. That's pretty much it, right? It's based in space. You're going to go through. You go through from the map and such. This is actually from their GameFound campaign. This game was on GameFound. Crowdfunding, and now it's coming out to you to retail. It's very straightforward. You're going to go through Euro style S. You're going to do your actions, collect your resources, use those resources to do different actions that get you points, and the person who contributes the most in the game wins. Really straightforward. There's a lot of these games already, so I'm kind of questioning how well this game's going to do, honestly. The reason just being, there's just so many sci-fi or space games that came out in like the last, I want to say even 7 months, not including the fact before that when a lot of other games came out, where you're going in and just doing action points and trying to follow this theme and trying to get just the most points possible. However, there is a lot of content, as you see on the left side here, on the left-hand side, that you can go through and check out to find out if this game's for you or not for you. That's too much content for you to make, too much content out for you to not make an educated buy, right? Just be a smart consumer. This is Starship Interstellar by Pendragon Game Studios, coming out to you on April 5th. Thank you for watching the video. And thank you for making it this far. I appreciate it. That helps the channel a lot, making it this far into the video and just watching the whole video through. That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. These games are really interesting. There's a lot of great ones. Some of them are a little bit on the iffy side of what if they do will or will not do well. I'm kind of questioning myself. Let me know in the comment section below, what game are you going to be buying? Is the one we mentioned in this set of, and these couple of games here we mentioned here, or maybe it's one you've been saving up for the past few weeks and you're going to be buying this week? Let me know. I want to hear it in the comment section. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it, and have a good one.